So this project is really just a prototyping and learning exercise for a future project where I want to build a light box for my sister, who's an oil painter, so that she can take nice photos of her art. This project was meant to be a really quick prototype that ended up taking ages just because our schedules got rammed with uni work and Christmas and exams and coursework. So the first step of any project we do is like a really dirty prototype, or just basically a proof of concept. Make sure everything works and make sure that the final result is actually worth pursuing. The idea is that because addressable LEDs allow you to customize the color of the light, you can precisely change the environment that you're recording in, meaning you need to do less color correction in post-production. We decided that to prototype the light box, we'd build some studio lights for our little office here, as we also struggle with lighting in our videos. And once Ethan threw up a quick proof of concept, it was on to the first tests.
First test. Previously this was our light level, and now, shit. Well, something's wrong. Hit upload. Does the light look better?
Look very blue.
Well, that's the point of having them addressable. We can change the colour of the light.
Yeah.
I think this could work really well. That's quite a strong light panel. It's stronger than I expected it to be with those LED strips.
I mean, it's using almost an amp.
That's at half brightness. Okay, so now change the brightness up and let's see what happens. So I'll just,
brightness up.
no, sorry, yeah. Put them all to 255. That's quite bright. That's surprisingly bright.
So, what you can see on the screen at the moment is me in front of the camera. We have another camera behind me here that's facing towards the LED panel, which you can see in the background of this camera here. And then you can see the sort of Arduino input Ethan is sat at the computer playing with. So you should be able to see him typing there. I'm going to power it on, and then in theory, Ethan should just be able to type in the three color values that we want. You should then see the panel come on and me change. And we get quite a red, but it's actually lit up the room quite well here. It's quite, let's try a different one. Obviously we probably won't regularly use full colors like that. I'll power cycle it and then just set it to like a slightly yellow white maybe. Ooh, it's a white light, and one of the strips is suddenly behaving weirdly. It's proof of concept because you can see the lights that we currently use. They're all different. They're all mains powered, so they're all AC. So we constantly have to do hertz and frequency modification to make sure there's no flicker. It's really annoying when you record a whole sequence and then it's flickering. And then obviously they're just slightly different colors or slightly different angles, and they're not like, it's not a big flat color. So this is ideally to help us with that basically. When you're on a filming rig, you tend to have massive floodlights and they've got diffusion material in front of them. And so I was talking to a couple of the lighting guys on these things. Diffusion material for lights is incredibly expensive. It's like 80 quid a meter. When talking to the guys, they said, if you're doing anything that isn't like blockbuster production, you can use a shower curtain because it basically does the same thing. So we've got a white shower curtain. I'm going to try and pass this over to Ethan. I don't know what that's doing to the light on my face. I can't see anything, but like, does that look more diffused? Does that look better? After an initial prototype like this, we set work on a proper panel, paying attention to the form factor, neatness, and light profile. And we also realized that with this many LEDs, we were current limited, so we can't actually power them all at full brightness, which meant that we could make the panel smaller and get the same light profile. Following on from the diffusion material and adding that in front of the lights, we did a bit of CAD. CAD is probably the thing that we find the hardest, but essentially came up with this sort of 3-part panel. So this is the new form factor for the lights. This raised platform in the middle is the space for the lights, and then around the edge there's a sort of 5mm channel for wiring or tucking away anything we need, and they can be pulled out the back through one of these 2 holes. On the front of this panel we'll bolt the sort of diffusion assembly, and the diffusion assembly is made up of 2 parts, so I'm just going to open them. This is the bottom of the diffusion assembly. It's slightly rebated on the underside, so it can fit into the panel, and then into the top here we have this sort of U channel, and so the idea is you would basically lay your diffusion material over the face of this and bolt through the diffusion material into some insert nuts. Essentially this component bolts down into that channel, and then that subsequently then all bolts into the base assembly. So we'll stick this on the printers and then we'll get that all assembled. So this is the result of the 3D printing. We've got the top piece, which sort of will act as our part to hold in our diffusion material into this groove, and then this whole assembly will bolt onto here, which means we can do the diffusion material separately and keep it out of the way of all of the assembly inside. So we've got this small piece of 4mm ply which sits inside on that raised platform and sits just below the outside edge, so LEDs will get stuck to this, and then the diffusion material panel will sit on top. Okay, so the LED panel is done. This is the front now of the diffusion material block makeup. So that's all assembled and bolted together. Screen's on, LED panels in, wires are coming through the back ready for testing. I've melted around this edge just briefly just to try and tidy it up a little bit so there's no floppy like shadow bits. That obviously needs a better process, but this will, after this scene, be behind the camera basically indefinitely. So maybe it doesn't matter.
Okay, so this is the breadboarded controller. It's very simple. We have 3 potentiometers for the red, green and blue. The sample LED is going to be connected on the controller so you can see what the color is on one LED and then simply push it onto the whole panel. This switch will determine whether you want it to constantly push or if you want it to only push when you press this button.
Everything's wired up, Ethan's controller is ready, the panel is in the background as you can see. We're just going to power this with an external 5V 1.5 amp power supply. Ethan's going to do that now.
So if we just turn off the automatic push mode and we make it be, I don't know, let's say a nice green, and then we push it with the button, it's now green. And if, I don't know, we want to sample it with a white, we can push white. And then if we don't want to push it each time and we just want to test it on the whole panel, we can turn the switch and then whatever color change we do, it will match on the panel like so.
It is a 5x6 LED panel, so there's 30 total.
So that's now pulling 5 volts at 1 amp. Okay, so this is the second panel, or the second version of the panel. So at the moment he's just picking a color with the sample LED. Any second now Seb is going to put color onto the panel. Yep, there we go. That's quite bright.
So this is just playing with the button, so I'm looking at a preview color. This is going to be like a cold white. Bang. Does that change? That has changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
Can barely see you, right? And then I'm just going to
just put it to like straight red or something.
And I'm going to turn this into continuous update.
Yeah.
So this is now just going to constantly update the panel as we twist these potentiometers. And you can kind of see that change in the background there. This was our version 2 with the messy edges and sort of no mount point. We've done a version 3 now, and we've got this. It's got a cover plate on the front to just tidy up that front edge. On the back we've got the power supply and a cable taking us to a controller, and then we've also put in this insert nut here so it can mount to a tripod. And then we have a separate controller here with a few potentiometers for different channels, a switch for live updating the thing, and a button, and we'll just show you that. So if I go in and plug in this barrel jack, everything should power on. So at the moment the panels will just go to white. That's how it's set up, that's their default. Let's say we want a yellow color. With the switch up, if I press the button, it just pushes whatever this one is showing. So let's go to a sort of teal. This is our preview, and this would be, you know, I can hold this out of the way. So I'm previewing colour, and then I can press the red button to push it, like so. Or we can flick the switch, and then it will just live update. So there's our blue. Turn up the red channel. It goes to a sort of magenta. Actually, it looks pretty good in this recording. But hopefully, this is a good starting point for another project that we want to work on. One thing I will note is we've got a few bits left to do on the back here. this power situation is messy. Oh. And there's a few bits and bobs to just finish off. So the controller needs a smaller microcontroller and tidying up a little bit. It is quite nice to hold. This kind of shape is actually quite good, but it just needs everything mounting a little bit better on the back. And this is all a prototype for another project that we sort of got carried away with prototyping. Okay, I've got the controller in my hand and I can kind of change the preview colours and push them, and maybe that's making a change to the lighting. It's quite bright outside, so it maybe isn't, but anyway, that's this project done. You may have noticed, or you may not have noticed, we've done a bit of a rebrand on the channel. Let us know what you think of that. We're not sure how we feel about it yet. And we've also started publishing shorts just as sort of regular updates to keep the channel alive and make sure that YouTube still knows we're here, but also because we're working on bigger projects now, and these long form videos take a lot of work and a lot of time, a lot of money. So yeah, let us know what you think of that. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, like Seb said regarding the shorts, we only really work on these 1 day a week due to us being full-time uni students. So if you're able to, show your support in any way, it's great and it means the world to us. Just commenting, liking, sharing is huge for us. If you have loads of cash laying around, we've set up a coffee. If you'd like to donate any money, we'll have links in the description and on our channel.
Yeah, and we've got some exciting stuff coming up. We're trying to work on some big things. We're potentially even going to apply for some funding for the next one. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye for now.